the Silver Line. I want to welcome you to our last of the first round of biannuals for this year here in Plano for the Silver Line Regional Rail Project. So I'm going to do a quick little rundown on the meeting itself, cover the agenda, and then we'll run through the presentation with the help of some folks from our Silver Line team here. So as I said, we'll introduce a few folks, go over the rules of engagement. We're going to cover an overall project overview, and as well as milestones specific to the City of Plano. We'll also cover construction updates specific to the City of Plano, vehicle testing information. Everything is Plano specific other than the project overview. Operating plan and fares, the upcoming public hearing that DART's going to be hosting, and then how you can stay informed and connected with us regarding all information on the project. So this is a public meeting. I want to remind everyone we are recording, so we just ask everyone please be cordial if things get heated or you have questions that can't specifically be answered. We're all friends. We want to be a good neighbor, so just asking everyone to remember that. All right. So rules of engagement. Small room, so I don't think we'll need a microphone, but basically the presentation is split in two. So in the first half, like I said, we're going to cover the overall project overview and then construction updates for Carrollton. We'll pause there, and then you can ask questions regarding any of those segments. And then from there, we'll switch over and then cover the rest of the information, which is basically the operating schedule, fare restructuring, and then how to stay connected with us. So for your questions, if you have a question, we just ask that you raise your hand. Someone will come over to you. Let us know what your question or concern is. We'll address it regarding that section of the presentation. If you have a question and you're shy or don't want to get it out there, just raise your hand. Someone will bring you a card. You can write it down, and we'll address it at the end of the presentation. So, does anyone need translating services? No? All right. So we will move on. All right. Got several folks from the Silver Line project team here. Primarily, I'm going to introduce Chance Gallup. He is with AWH, our design build contractor. He'll cover the construction portion of the presentation. And then Hans Michael Rudas, he just walked in. He's with our service planning department. He'll cover that part of the presentation. So we will tag team it and make sure you have all the information you need and then get your questions and concerns answered. As I said, this is the final presentation for this first round of biannuals. You can see here we've already visited Richardson, Dallas, Addison, Carrollton, and Coppell. So we'll come back and do another round of biannuals here later this summer, and basically we'll be ready to talk to you about opening here at the end of the year or early next year. All right, so project overall, if you're not familiar with the Silver Line, it's a 26-mile rail alignment. Basically serving east-west. It's DART's first major project that does not focus on bringing people into or out of downtown Dallas. So it's a major milestone for the cities involved. It covers 7 different cities: Addison, Carrollton, Coppell, Dallas, Grapevine, Plano, and Richardson. And as I said, it runs east-west, basically from the easternmost point, which is the Shiloh Road Station here in Plano, to DFW Airport Terminal B. So across 3 counties. Important to note, if you see there on your left, sorry, I always get confused with that. So at certain stations, you'll have rail connections. So at the 12th Street station, we're actually putting in 2 stations. We'll have a Silver Line station and an aerial station that'll serve orange and red line LRT service, so light rail transit. And then in downtown Carrollton, you'll be able to do the same thing with green going into Dallas. DCTA, who's one of our sister agencies in Denton County, they have plans to eventually come into downtown Carrollton, so eventually they will take the A train into Denton from there as well. And then at the far western point in DFW Airport North, you can connect to Trinity Metro and grab Tex Rail and go all the way to downtown Fort Worth. So once we're complete, you'll be able to basically take a train from Plano all the way to Fort Worth. This is brief information on your stations here in Plano, so you can find this information online, dart.org/Silverline. So we invite you to visit there. You'll get station facts general information, the proposed time that it'll basically take. So if you look there at Shiloh Road, it's 60 minutes. I think we timed it's just a hair under that. So you're looking at roughly an hour-long trek from Plano to DFW Airport. Let me point out the maps. So the circles in there is about a mile radius. So as the areas continue to populate, you'll be able to see what you're within walking distance. So we picked a mile because it's typically about a 20-minute walk. So again, our goal is to improve mobility. So from the station, you're able to access different points, whether it's a restaurant, maybe a business, that sort of thing. So again, all this information is online, and you can go more in depth if you pull this up on your phone, tablet, or at home on your computer. So as I said, the goal is to increase mobility, and these are some of the benefits that the Silver Line offers. Obviously, we're providing service to DFW Airport. One thing that often gets lost, but has really been important that's come up through all these meetings, is the connectivity between the 6 cities involved. There's a lot of connection running east-west to where you'll be able to go from Plano to Richardson or to Addison without having to fool with traffic. So that's really important. We're addressing that mobility that's coming in place. And as the area continues to grow, because DFW has continued to grow, we want to continue to provide different avenues to connect folks. So as you see, we're going to continue to focus on this, and we're also focusing on the transit development piece. So it's important because it is an economic catalyst. Research that we've done has shown that within a half-mile radius of our stations, you're going to have access to over 200,000 job or educational opportunities. As the area continues to grow, that'll only increase. And then lastly, we've talked about the growth in mobility. The safety and security is really important. So, DART is reaffirming its effort to continue to provide safe and secure places. And one of the ways we're doing that is through our strategic plan, which focuses on point B, which is getting us there. So we want to focus on fantastic spaces, and that's places where people can work, play, and stay. So, and that's where transit work and development comes in. And obviously here in Plano, we've worked with the city to develop those areas around the Silver Line stations to continue to provide that access to people that live in Plano and that are visiting. To increase that mobility, one of the benefits of the project is the Cotton Belt Regional Trail. So this is a separate project. I know this often comes up when we have meetings or at different presentations, but the trail is not a DART project. We just are overseeing it. It's a North Central Texas Council of Governments project, and it's a partnership between them and each of the cities that's going to be having the trail go through it. So you can see on this map, if you look at the farther east all the way into going into Fort Worth, so it's connecting, it'll connect to existing trails and provide 57 miles of trail space all the way through once it's completely done. The Silver Line portion is only 26 miles, and it runs pretty much adjacent to the track for primarily most of the trail. So phases 1 and 2 are being constructed along with the Silver Line. Again, we're the managers of the project, and then phase 3 will come in once COG and the partner cities continue to accumulate funds to pay for the project. So phases 1 and 2 focus on the Plano to Addison section. You can see here on this map what it covers. Some of the key points here, if you think of the Katy Trail in Dallas, very similar to that. The trail is typically about 12 feet wide. It'll have 2 feet of clearance on each side. All the pedestrian bridges, which were part of phase 1, that had to be done. So before we started obviously operating trains for safety purposes, so those are about 16 feet wide. Phase 2 is which is going to provide those connection points here, which will run basically, like I said, connecting Plano to Addison from the trail. We're in the process of securing a contractor to do that work, and we're looking to start summer of 2025. And from our projections, it's probably about a 2-year project, so we're looking at wrapping up this section sometime in 2027. So with new rail service and new vehicles, those vehicles need to have a home, and that's where the Silver Line Equipment Maintenance Facility comes in. It's located here in the city of Plano, over on Technology Boulevard. It's actually just a few hundred feet away from the Shiloh Road Station near the end of the Silver Line track. We broke ground in October of last year, and the EMF has an expected opening of fall of this year. So we'll probably still be doing some work there, but we're looking to open then. The facility itself is being built in our right-of-way, so it's basically in existing rail area, so we didn't have to take over any land or purchase any land there. DART did buy an existing office building, and then we're building 2 new buildings behind there, and that's where the trains are going to be maintained and washed. We'll have an underground fuel tank, and then the trains will also be fueled there. It was really important for us to not just have a facility that was part of a member city, but also have it connected to the existing line so that you have direct access in case you have service issues that come up, or you need to get additional trains on the track. It provides just quicker service and keeps us from having service interruptions. So a few milestones here in Plano as of the beginning of this year. We have 4 Silver Line vehicles testing. If you're not aware, we've been testing out in Plano since last year, so that's been ongoing and going well. So 90% of the Shiloh Road station is complete, 80% of the 12th Street at-grade station is complete, and about 70% of the 12th Street aerial station is complete. As I said, those are 2 separate stations. The at-grade will serve Silver Line, and it's also like a few hundred feet away from the aerial station, and then you'll have access to the red and orange line from that one. 95% of the rail crossings are complete, which is basically just like it sounds. That's where the lights and signals and the arms come down. The guideway bridges, those are the rail bridges. We have 95% of those complete. Just need to wrap up a few things. 100% of the pedestrian bridges are complete. That was phase 1 of the trail project that I mentioned earlier. Those are complete, but we're still going through some punch list items, which is basically when you're walking through this with the city to make sure everything is how they want it before it's turned over to them to maintain. So once that happens, we'll start opening up those bridges for pedestrian traffic where allowable. And then noise and betterment walls. About 80% of those are in here within the city, and that's primarily in highly residential areas. I think overall in the project, we did this presentation yesterday, and we're about 95% done there. So, and that was basically, if you got a noise or betterment wall, that fell in line with sound studies that said that you needed that service. So then lastly, we've laid it down over 245,000 new feet of linear track. So that's a very big portion of the project, and we're getting close to wrapping that section up. I will say this is a misnomer. You can kind of see on the photo here, there's 2 sets of tracks. This isn't actually Silver Line track, but primarily most of the Silver Line alignment is double tracked. So you're technically having more than 245,000 linear feet. I haven't got that exact amount, but going one way. So we've laid down almost 500,000 linear feet of track, which is a pretty substantial amount of work that we've done there. All right, we'll turn it over to Chance and give you an update on how we're looking here in Plano.
Thank you. Well, good evening, everyone. My name is Chance Gallup. I'm the Deputy Project Manager for the project. Give you a little presentation here, walk through some of the photos of the construction progress of here in Plano. So here we have the Shiloh station. It's a center loading platform. We've wrapped up the majority of the construction for the actual station. Our big push, which we just finished last week, is the parking lot. This is a little bit older photo, but we've actually finished this parking lot area right here. So we've placed all of our pavement, including the walkway that runs to the station, actually. So this station's around 95% complete. We'll start kind of the punch list and clean up some of the aesthetic type stuff. Currently, one of the last remaining things, we've got ongoing an architectural fence, a barrier fence that runs right through here that separates the Encore facility to the actual station platform.
No, okay, John, ask a question.
We'll do it when we get there.
Sure.
I'm about to ask a question about.
Okay. Here's a little bit better shot of actually looking at that Shiloh station. You can see some of the amenities, the trash cans, the benches we've installed, the column cladding, kind of the neat architecture on it. We do have the wind screens in between the columns. You'll see the light bars, and we've got all the lighting. Some of the last things we actually do, some of the neat things and some of the testing we have to follow up with is actually see these cameras as well as all the speaker systems have been installed at the station. So just kind of a lot of cleanup, a little bit of punch list really at this station. So here's kind of a shot, as mentioned earlier, of the EMF construction. To the right, our Shiloh station's right up here, and a lot of this is the excavation for the side rails that will come in as the trains will pull off into the maintenance facility. So this is a little bit better ground shot of the over excavation and the foundations being installed. I believe this is Jupiter Pedestrian Bridge. This is part of that early phase 1 for the hike and bike. A handful of the bridges were actually required to be built on the Silver Line phase of the project. So this is a pedestrian bridge that jumps all the way over Jupiter Road and ends just on the other side of the post office here. It was really key for DART to get those bridges done as the construction of the rail was going in, because in the future it would make it very difficult when trains are running all the time to build those structures. It'd make it way more drawn out, a lot more difficult for that contractor, so we try to put them in as soon as we can. This is the 12th grade at-grade station. This station's a little bit different, right? It's a dual platform, so you have the tracks in the middle and a platform on each side. So most of the station is built out. As you can see, we have the canopies finished, the brick pavers, that's that kind of reddish looking brick there. We've primarily focused on the parking lot areas. So we'll have a parking lot on this side as well as this side. So if you were to drive by tomorrow or tonight, this building's actually already been demoed. And we've already graded this area. And we've actually started to do our subgrade preparation. It's a lime stabilized subgrade in that area. So here's a better shot of that dual platform station. We've got our windscreens installed, our column cladding. You can kind of see the dozer in the background. What you don't see is there's the building again, but it's actually gone. So they've started grading that whole area out. And then we have our trackway fence that divides the two northbound and southbound rails. So this is a shot, or a kind of a before and after progress photo of the aerial station. The one on the left here is an older photo. You can see this is actually the red line, and we have built bridges and platforms up next to it, on the sides essentially. So this is a transfer station, because to the right is the actual at-grade 12th Street station. So it's a transfer station. So there's a pathway over to this station, and you can kind of see a skeletonized canopy right there. You kind of see the beginning of the canopy forming, whereas on the right, you can see the canopy on the right is finished up, and we're now putting the decking and roofing on the left side here. One of our biggest and more complex items of this station is actually we have 2 elevators we're installing. So you'll have a redundant system, 2 elevators and 2 sets of stairs from the aerial station. So in a month's time, we'll actually start to set the roof. And as we set that roof, we'll also set the elevator equipment with it. It'll be a friction elevator. So it's a lot of mechanical work going on right now. So here's a ground shot of that structure I was talking about. So for security purposes, it's a glass elevator, right? So you can see into it, essentially. So I get that question, why is the glass, right? Well, security purposes. So you can kind of see the glass going in up the structure, and then we were working on the actual steps for the staircase here. So this is another pedestrian bridge that we've constructed over East Plano Parkway here. The silver line is on the left. This is the red line in the middle, and this is the pedestrian bridge built over that street, essentially. So Bush City Line Station, this is also a transfer station. This is the Silver Line dual platform again station. We finished all of our canopies, all the brick pavers, windscreens, all the amenities are done. I think in 2 weeks we're going to start doing the ADA testing, essentially. Basically, we're trying to check all the slopes, make sure everything's compatible for state and federal regulations. So here's a better shot on the ground view. You can kind of see the column cladding. We've got the signage, the gull-wing canopies finished, and then we've got the trackley fence completed as well. So as far as the Plano area, the rail's basically done, a lot of the crossings are finished. We've tried to push really hard on the station finishes, and that's kind of where we're wrapping up for the section of Plano. So do we have any questions?
All right, let's start. Yes, sir.
Can you talk about the noise control, noise betterment, and the horns, please? Just like what is the...
Sure. So I'll go into, this is John Hoppy, who did our FEIS study and our noise analysis. He can go into that. I'll start off with saying trains are running right now, and I have this in the second part of the presentation, but I'll go ahead and mention it now. So as we're testing, quiet zones aren't in effect. Once we are running operations, quiet zones will be in effect, and that means the only time you'll hear the horn is if the engineer who's driving the train sees something on or near the tracks that could impede his progress.
Okay.
So while we're testing, you hear the horn a lot more, because when we're doing testing, we're not just running trains, we're testing everything. We're testing the validity of the track, we're testing the signals, the lights, the arms, the timing mechanisms. So you're constantly hearing that for the safety of the drivers and the pedestrians. In regards to the walls, take it away, John.
We did per our Federal Transit Administration's standards, we did an in-depth sound analysis, noise analysis along the entire corridor. The one thing, 95% of all noise impacts that we identified were eliminated by putting in the quiet zones. Most of the noise was associated with the train horn. And occasionally you'll hear it during testing. You'll hear it if there's an issue with someone on the tracks and that. But other than that, we don't have to blow the horn, or the freight doesn't have to blow the horn at any of the crossings that are quiet zones. And each of the ones in residential areas are quiet zones. We also put in special electric bells at the crossing. It used to be that we always had the mechanical clang, 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 clang. Now we have an electronic bell that's directed at the traffic and not broadcast wide like the clanging bells do. So that eliminated some of the noise. And then elsewhere we put in noise walls where there were identified impacts. And there was just a few places in Plano, but on top of that, DART did a residential betterment procedure where we took these identical walls that were noise impacts that were getting rid of or dampening the noise associated with the train, that were identified impacts, but gave the opportunity to put them adjacent to residential neighborhoods. And there's a few of the betterment walls that are the same height, same absorbent material, same dimensions as the noise wall. So that's being done at most places where there isn't a noise wall. So all of that together eliminated the noise impact. Now, also we did our initial analysis on a train that was a little louder than what we're doing. So our train is going to be actually quieter. Then we put in wheel skirts that also dampen noise, and then we put in HVAC enclosures to keep, so when the train is in the station or idling someplace, you don't hear the air conditioning and that sort of thing. So there's a lot of effort went into making this as quiet as possible. Hope it's not too quiet.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
At the 12th Street station, there's a squiggly area that looks like a bandstand. What is that?
On the bottom?
Yeah, right there, the squiggly station there, right?
Yep.
Yep.
That's part of the trail, I think.
It is, it cuts right through there, I believe, the future trail.
It's just part of the design.
Still look like a bandstand.
And, yeah, some of the paper's the same color.
Once the trail's in, you can bring your band.
Okay, great.
Any questions, ma'am?
So,
Yes. The area on Shiloh, where the mosque is,
Go back to one of the.
go to that station. From the mosque parking lot into the tracks, there is no wall to keep pedestrians from walking right up on the tracks. What do you have planned there to ensure there's a safety feature?
That's
wide open space.
right through here,
Yeah,
is that what we're talking about?
yeah, that grassy area.
I think there's gonna be a fence.
Yeah, I think there's a fence, well, there's not a wall, there's supposed to be a fence. So the project's still under construction, so it's not.
Okay, when you say 90%, I'm thinking, you've got all these other walls, I expected that wall to be there maybe.
Oh, there's no wall.
It's a fence.
It's a fence.
What, when you say fence now, are we talking a wire fence? What kind of a fence? Because I've seen different structures of fences from 14th Street, Jupiter, where I live. Back behind there where the big culvert is, where the water is, where the brick, where the bike trail drops off. There's all kinds of wiring, bridges and fences. What kind of a fence that we don't have homeless going under there to live?
This would be I think, yeah, it's a 6-foot cyclone fence, galvanized.
Kind of like a chain link fence.
Like a
Chain
back-
link fence?
yes.
With exception on this side, the other side, this is a 4.5-foot picket yellow fence, bright yellow fence.
And I think that's part of the art and design. project.
It is.
That's part of the art and design, because the theme of this station is the electric
yeah.
power
Power.
station.
Yeah, you don't see it real well, but there's kind of a lightning bolt in the paper.
Yeah, so we got plugs and lightning bolts
You
and.
can kind of see it there.
Okay.
Yeah,
Then,
yeah, you can see it a little bit right here.
the other ones, where are people going to park? I know now you have that, the maintenance facility, and I know Plano Parkway is under construction right now, that road. When you come, with all the people coming to the station, how many people do you anticipate a day will be using that station at Shiloh?
Yeah, I'll have to go back and check that, but it wasn't a large number. We're constructing one parking lot, but we have room to expand that parking lot. We're only building half of the parking lot. I think, initially.
Yeah, it's just off the photo.
And-
There's.
And the city of Plano actually bought that for us back in 2010, I think, something like that.
Because I know across the road, that industrial park is under rezoning by the city to change the whole, what's going to happen there. You can see that being used now for that trail, for that station, which could be impacted even more than what you all anticipated. And I wondered what you had planned for that.
Yeah, well, like I said, we have room for expansion. We don't anticipate that it will be overparked initially, but we're going to be doing some additional ridership modeling to see what our opening day will be, and that the North Central Texas Council of Governments just changed their model, and we're still working with them to be able to use that. So we're going to go ahead and use that and have our opening day ridership. But we don't anticipate that this will be overparked initially, but we have room for expansion if it does.
When you come out on Shiloh Road, are you anticipating that people are going to go Shiloh Road, go to the right, go down to Plano Parkway? Are you going to
I think
come?
they're gonna punch it into their computer on their car and decide where to go
They'll
then.
be right down 14th Street, right where we live. Also, on our area, I don't know if other areas have this, but we have the freight train, and that is becoming a nuisance right now. Because you advertise that the DART train is quiet, it's almost whisper quiet. That's not true with the freight train. And that barrier wall we have between our community, it blocks off some of the sound, but believe you me, you can hear it.
And well, we're not responsible for the freight noise. The freight companies are. We are responsible for our noise, and what we're doing to address our noise is also going to address some of the freight noise, such as this all brand new track, brand new crossing that improves it. The quiet zones, the quiet zones were there already, but we're going to be using quiet.
respond to Plano, I have to call it to the company. Please move this, nobody's, I even go over there, knocking at that every
She went on to
sign.
the train.
Because couldn't be able to sleep.
And that won't be an issue anymore.
Yeah, I did. I know.
Well, the question we have also is, our area with our 122 homes, are we one of the rare areas that's gonna have both trains coming right behind us?
No.
No,
Dallas, city of Dallas
I
won't
mean,
have
up
that.
here.
I know exactly.
I don't think in Plano though, it'll veer, the way that track's gonna veer for the freight.
In Plano, that's the
We're the
only
only-
residential neighborhood adjacent to the track. in
I
that area.
know, that's what I'm finding out.
But,
But there's other neighborhoods and areas. I mean, there's several parts in Carrollton where you have freight and the Silver Line's gonna come through
Well,
in your
they are.
residential areas.
If they're honking at
Cabela's too.
12:30 at night, really loud.
again, they won't have to use the horn once the quiet zones are
Well,
re-implemented.
we had that before until the construction and all. Our concern is, not, years ago, there was an accident. I think there was a chemical accident or something with the train behind us. That concerns us to what, will there be a time that the Silver Line and the freight's gonna go right through at the same
No,
time?
we control dispatch, so freight and passenger won't ever be running at the same time.
And again, the track is going to be is all brand new. So, and we're going to be in charge of maintaining that track. So but that will limit the potential for any derailments or any type of issues like that.
Our other thing with the safety is, now that the bike trail, that big bridge you have drops off right behind our homes, right smack behind our homes. When all that bike trail gets back there, what is the safety feature for that? Because you've got the 2 trains now you have bikers and all that. What kind of a safety feature is gonna keep the people off the tracks? Because you know somebody's gonna try it.
And we will have fencing to keep the trail, segregate the trail from the tracks.
And you also have the wall.
And,
You have to go around that wall. I could walk around that wall
Yeah,
right
well,
now.
it'll be different when it's complete. And then, like, as far as policing and that, the city of Plano will actually be responsible for that portion of the trail.
I know, I've talked with them about that. I know you all are coming to our HOA for a meeting, so we can ask more detailed questions. This really impacted us in the way of, we're a little community in there, one way in and one way out. So we see this traffic issue that's gonna start impacting us. So we're trying to speak up now when we didn't get to speak up in 2019. We didn't know everything was starting, we only had one person come to a meeting. So now I'm speaking up because I'm on our board. So that what we can do now, our main thing is safety, cleanliness. I love the homeless, I give them stuff all the time. But that's a big factor to us with our homes. We can't let the value of our homes go down because the train's going behind us.
You know.
We agree? Any other questions?
yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So I see here in Plano, y'all got several aerial stations that are going to have just the one where you can have elevators. In Carrollton's downtown station, where we have for the Green Line, we have 2 elevators. They're glass elevators, just like you're proposing here or building here. And I know you're going to install a new elevator to go from the Silver Line depot up to the Green Line depot.
That's correct.
One of the problems that a couple problems we've had with those elevators that are existing for the Green Line station are that they're slow and that they're basically urinals. And they just smell horrific going up them. What have y'all done to address that issue with these elevators and the new one in Carrollton?
A couple of things in Carrollton, we've increased our police force and our security force in order to do that. We're locking the elevators at night now to keep people from sleeping in there, which was becoming a problem. The downtown depot there is also going to have a police substation in it, so there'll be a greater police presence. Oh, in Carrollton. Now, this one, we haven't considered any additional thing, but the city of Plano is looking to increase activity in this area. And with increased activity, you'll have a decrease in homeless issues and that. So we've got, this is becoming a corridor from 12th Street to downtown with restaurants and other businesses that they're looking at. The city of Plano has done a station area master plan where they're encouraging different types of development around there. And that's the things that can help just discourage that sort of activity. We do have closed circuit TV. Do we have that in the elevators?
Stations.
We have them on the station platforms. We have them on the upper platform and probably the lower
Concourse, I think you do.
and so we have that. We have our app that if you see a problem, you report it. I've only used it a couple times and got immediate responses for it. So there's things we got to see how things go and see if this becomes, and then we'll have to address things. But there are things in there that are built into it that we're hoping our partnership with Plano and the development plans will come to fruition. And a real nice development, actually from Bush to 12th Street to downtown Plano, so it's going to be a significant
Major project.
Yeah, they say that there's not going to be cameras in the elevators.
I don't think it's in the elevator.
Just on the outside.
What about the speed of them? Are they faster than the older elevators?
Yes.
What about?
You know,
I know that for the downtown Carrollton station.
I know we've been looking at that to improve the speed. We've been running different tests. I can't get into those specifics because I don't know that. I just know, Trey Walker, who's our VP of construction, he's overseeing that. And I know he's had conversations both with the people from the city of Carrollton and with our board member from the DART board, to address some of those speed concerns. But I do know that the new elevators will be faster. Is it going to be, substantially faster? I can't tell you, but I know it's going to be faster.
The downtown Carrollton station, they supposedly have a cleaning crew that visits that at what interval, I don't know.
I know they're typically there. I use the downtown Carrollton station often, so they're typically there in the morning, and then they're typically there like in the afternoon as well. I don't know. I know for a while we had a crew that was there regularly because they were keeping that area clean and then going and checking on the depot and then the platform, the concourse area as well. I don't know what the consistency of that is right now, though.
Okay, if you can have them revisit the elevators more frequently. The last time I went to use those elevators, it was still just rancid. Are y'all going to have cleaning crews here at the station in Plano?
Yeah, I mean, everything that we operate for light rail, we're going to, expand across the service area. So, but not just with cleaning, but also, like John said, with DART PD presence, with fair enforcement across the board, and then the Silver Line's going to operate a little bit differently, which I'll explain when we get to the next section. But everything that we're doing to ramp up to improve our cleanliness and our service, we're looking to do with Silver Line as well.
And where is DART as far as I know the DART police force was very understaffed. I think they've got a new chief now.
We're still not at full capacity. I don't know how many direct officers we have. I do know that the board approved a contract with an agency for additional service, and we just recently renewed that. And then we also have fair enforcement as well that we've increased. So we're trying to increase our presence across the board. And I know in a recent presentation that we did, they're also trying out different times where they're going out to where you see more of a presence later in the evening and in that early morning time frame.
And we are building a new elevator at downtown Carrollton as well, at the end of the platform extension over to the Silver Line, so you and Buddy can get up there and race each other and see which one's faster.
Certainly we've had issues with the homeless in our downtown station in Carrollton and at the Frankfurt station. With the Silver Line going to DFW, I just learned a couple of weeks ago that there is a homeless problem at DFW Airport I guess they're sleeping out there in the parking lots, in between cars and things like that. What steps are y'all gonna take to, kind of, and I know you have fair enforcement, I don't know how much, if you're going to increase that compared to what it is currently, as far as, how often a fair enforcement officer is actually on a car. But are y'all gonna do anything particular at DFW to kind of see that as a potential feeder point for the Silver Line that we want to kind of avoid?
We'll obviously have conversations with DFW Airport regarding whatever issues they're encountering. And then, like I said, I mean, everything that we're trying right now across the system will apply whatever's working to Silver Line as it works. And then as, issues or concerns pop up, we'll address those as they come up regarding, additional police or or fair enforcement presence.
And that was one of the impetus for getting more officers, was actually that first run in the morning on the Orange Line was having a lot of homeless getting on at the airport and starting to run. And we've worked with DFW to try and reduce it.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I actually have three very probably easy questions. So first, for the pedestrian bridge, is that going to be open before the Cotton Belt is completely done, or will that be closed off? So if the Cotton Belt is starting this summer.
That will be the city's call, actually,
Okay.
probably. Depending on safety issues and the Cotton Belt running and that. But the touchdown points and the fencing at that location, it is something that could open sooner. Because the built bridges are, you also have to have the approaches in and everything else like that. So that is a possibility.
Yeah, and that is one of those things, like I mentioned, that the bridges are complete, but once we kind of do those punch list items, as Chance mentioned that you're walking through, once we go through that and everything's been punched out and completed, then that bridge basically is operated by the city. So it's kind of at their discretion.
As soon as it's deemed safe.
Another quick question. So the scale of the LRT grade separated station, to me, it kind of looks, I would compare it to like the Walnut Hill.
Yes.
So
I think
about that height and scale.
Yes.
Going down.
Yeah,
Trying to
we
visualize.
have like 4 or 5 aerial stations and they're all pretty similar. This one's unique in that it was retrofitted, so it will be a little bit different and the slopes on the platform itself will be different than the one those, but it's similar to scale, similar access, so complete level boarding.
What was your last question?
My last question was around Shiloh Road, where the electrical facility is. What type? How's that? You said that fence is coming. Yeah. So would there be screening on the north side and the west side there, or is that fence just on that north side?
There's an existing fence where the substation is.
Well, we're going to be putting in a fence as part of the urban design program that goes on the east side. On the west side, it will just be a cyclone fence, I believe.
Yeah, I think this fence through here is actually already installed. I think it's a little bit of an old photo. I do know Encore just has an ongoing project too right now to do some sidewalks in that general area.
And we did a property swap with Encore, so we could have pedestrian access on both sides. Frank worked on that in 2010. And then on the north side as well.
Yes, sir.
Hey, quick question on the Cotton Belt. So, and I'm not tied into that very deeply. I started taking this project on when you guys started doing the Silver Line. But if the city's in control of Cotton Belt bridges, and the city is going to determine when those open and or run, who's responsible for the general maintenance of the Cotton Belt? Not just the bridges.
The bridges are a component of the trail, and the city will be responsible for that. We're responsible for the maintenance and security of the rail right of way where the tracks are.
Okay, so the actual Cotton Belt path and trail, though, is a responsibility of each conglomerate city?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Are there any, on the trail, and I don't know what the lighting arm's gonna look, are there any emergency call boxes or I mean, everybody has a cell phone.
Okay.
I mean, people are gonna do
I
dumb
think
things
that's
on
going to
bicycles.
vary
and
by
skate-
city, and I
skating
don't know
and
what
stuff.
was decided in Plano.
Okay.
All the additional trash cans, chairs, lighting,
Benches.
security, benches, all that stuff, that's up to the cities to determine if they're going to expend money to put those elements in there.
Okay.
We just doing the hike and bike trail, they
Okay.
take over and whatever they do from there, that's their responsibility.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
I have a specific question on the city line station, if you go to that picture. Yes, so the drainage from the dark line, the existing dark line, this one,
Down here?
right here, used to go down to the left because there was no tracks. There's a big field down there,
Kind of down this way,
that way.
or this way?
Yeah, it comes across where the silver line is now. And we're having an issue with the drainage at that point. It actually comes down, and when there's a downpour or a lot of rain, it goes through our property. And on the fence, it's a little further down from your picture.
Yeah.
I
Is there
believe
a
it's-
dog park or something down here too, if I remember
There's a
correctly?
dog park.
Okay.
And I think our employees have gone in there and put bags of concrete along the fence and punched holes in them to stop the water somewhat coming onto our property. But when it rains a lot, it's like a deluge. There needs to be a better way for that water to drain when there's a thunderstorm. So who do I take this issue to?
Just email me, and then we can talk about it offline, and we can look at it.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll give you the info.
And we are still under construction, so there may be something that is planned to be addressed, but in case it's not.
Did you have a question, sir?
On your stations, what is the crime rate when it comes to the homeless?
I don't have those numbers on top of my head. I have to look them up.
It's
And
pretty low as far as crime, reportable crime, but there are instances, and the police deal with people all the time on the train, on the platform. But as far as what would be considered a reportable crime, it's pretty low.
That's what I thought, that's what I thought.
I was at the Lake Island station last week, and I saw someone get arrested. That was one.
I have a question. When this gets to the airport and goes into Station B, is the airport working with y'all to increase transportation to get to Terminal C and D?
Well,
Because that's
actually,
obviously going to increase with this train.
we have the orange line coming in, so we have a presence there now. The Tex Rail comes into Terminal B now, so their trains are going in frequently now. You can walk from either platform to Terminal A or to Terminal B. If you can go in and get the secure side, you can take the people mover. But at each Terminal A or Terminal B, you can take the Terminal Link.
They just put more money on Terminal Link. It should be about every 5 minutes now.
Oh, okay. That would help.
Maybe I should have asked the next one.
all right, any other construction project-related questions? All right.
All right, thank you.
Dive into the next portion. All right. So we've kind of talked about this a little bit already regarding testing. Again, testing isn't new to this group because we've been testing Silverline vehicles out in Plano for some time now. You can see on the map here, I guess that's a Royal Carolina bluish color. That's the light blue. We'll go with that, not the navy. So segment C. So we've been testing out there since October, and we're running trains mostly on Sundays right now, just to get our operators some drive time on the corridor. You'll see A1 and A2, we're in progress. So the A1 is basically Terminal B to DFW North Airport. We just wrapped up testing there a couple weeks ago. Last week, we wrapped up testing in A2, so that's basically running from DFW North to I-35. So the reason we're not going into A3 is because we're still laying down track in downtown Carrollton. So once we wrap up there, we'll have all the track laid down for the segment, and then we'll be able to test there. And we're looking to do that later on in March. So segment B will also be in late March, early April, and that encompasses coming from downtown Carrollton through Addison and North Dallas, and then connecting to UTD. The reason, and we get this question all the time, that's why I'm kind of jumping into it, as opposed to just going, from east to west or west to east. The reason that middle section had to wait was because we did a lot of construction in North Dallas on Hillcrest Road and Coit. So that affected a lot of the traffic there. So we just opened up Hillcrest Road a few weeks ago. So now that that's open, we're able to finish laying down track, and we'll come through there. So let me point you to the top circle, the pink at the far right. That's end-to-end testing. That's the most important piece. Like I said, once we lay down that final track, as we're finishing up in Dallas and then in downtown Carrollton, we're able to start end-to-end testing, which is from DFW Airport to Shiloh Road and back, and we're looking to do that sometime in May or June of this year. So as I said here, we've been testing since October, and the end-to-end testing will be simulated service. We'll have stops at each station, so it's just like it's operating. We just won't pick up passengers, so no pickup or drop off. And as I know I said this before, but when we're testing everything. We're letting the engineers be on the trains and get some track time. We're testing the validity of the track to make sure it doesn't vibrate. We can hit the speeds we need to hit. The arms, the lights, the bells, the whistles, you name it. We're testing all that stuff, which is why we're constantly using horns, which is why there's no quiet zone observance. As I said before, once we're in operation later this year to early next year, quiet zones will be in place. And then, as I said, we've been running on Sundays. Starting this weekend, though, we're going to start upping our runs here in this area, that segment C, coming through Plano Richardson on Saturdays and Sundays. And that's going to primarily occur during the day. So about the vehicles themselves, we kind of covered this already as well, but these are not like our light rail vehicles. So if you see the photo here on the right, it doesn't have the cantilever at the top to where you can touch those wires to get additional power. These are actual trains, diesel powered, electric starters. They meet strict EPA standards, so they're pretty low emission for being trains. They have seating for 230 passengers. Overhead storage, you can see on the photo there from the interior. Bike hooks, large luggage compartment. If you've ever ridden the Tex Rail service that goes from DFW North or Grapevine into downtown Fort Worth, basically the area where they have the restroom on those trains, our area has a large compartment where you can store bikes or additional large luggage. So that's kind of where that component comes in. It gives it more openness. And then as we've said before, the trains themselves will have closed circuit TV cameras on the inside and the outside, so DART PD can monitor. And I brought this up earlier, but the things that's going to be different from the Silver Line trains versus the light rail vehicles, since these are trains per FRA standards, they'll have an engineer driving the train, and they'll also have a conductor. So the conductor will be walking up and down the train basically during the duration of each trip, checking on tickets, making sure passengers know where they're going, to just kind of keep that presence needed. And as was asked before, just because we have a conductor, we still plan on having DART PD, fare enforcement, and everything that we have on the light rail vehicles and on TRE. All right, let me turn it over to Hans Michael to cover the opening operating plan and then some of the service changes that are now in place.
Okay, thank you very much, Mario. Hi, everybody. My name is Hans Michael. I work in service planning, which is not related to construction, so I appreciate your questions. It's really helped me a lot. So we're talking about the service plan. Basically what we're going to do is 30 minutes peak service and 60 minutes off-peak service. So what does peak mean? Peak refers to like a traditional rush hour kind of situation. So if you graph it, you would see the frequency kind of peak in the mornings and the go-home times, like the late afternoon, early evening times. And then in the middle of the day and on the tails, you'll see 60-minute service. It's basically, depending on where you are, going to be about 4 a.m. to midnight 30 operating. And you'll see that throughout. I think we're kind of limited on what we can do operationally in terms of frequency. I'd like to see much better frequency. That's just me and my opinion, you know, I'm a service planner. I like to see frequency so I can make connections, but I don't think that's the plan for the Silver Line, which is fine. That's what we're working on with the community, and no problem.
Excellent.
Yeah, this is a fancy little thing. Do I do it like this?
And I don't think it works.
Press the green button.
Oh, the green button.
Click the on the side.
Here, I got you. Go ahead. Go ahead, Austin.
So thank you for this, thank you for coming. This is very great. What is this? Oh, this is the first slide. Oh, I'm sorry. What's happening? All right. So you're doing the slides, right? All right. Okay, so we have a public hearing at the DART board meeting in March, and that'll be the public hearing for the public to comment on the service schedule. Really the service itself. It's not a public meeting, a public hearing necessarily about the construction or about the testing. You're welcome to come and comment on those things, but the reason that the board of directors called for the hearing was for the service itself. We've also got some other services that are changing that the public hearing will include, so if you were to come, which you'd be happy to come, you could also send in an email, but you would hear comments from other commenters, members of the public, about other things too. So it's not just about Silver Line. Next slide, please.
One thing I'll note on here is, as we've done all these presentations in each community, so every community has different concerns, and kind of like Hans said, it's their opportunity to come and get before the board to, you know, have their concerns heard so they can, you know, talk about the service plan.
It's a state law to have these public hearings, so it's an official thing. All the comments are documented. It's a big deal. Okay, so we are going to make some complimentary, not compliment like, hey, you look good today, but compliment like, help you out. We're going to make some complimentary changes to our bus and GoLink service in order to supplement, to support, to buttress the Silver Line service as much as we can with the frequency that's going to be running, and I'm going to go through those from east to west. So here we are at Shiloh Road Station. I'm sorry for the granularity here. That's my fault. I'm sorry about that. I can call the things, the labels out if anybody's confused about what we're talking about. Shiloh Road Station, we've got 2 on-demand GoLink zones that are performing very well right now. We're going to add Shiloh Road to both zones. So you be able to take an on-demand GoLink trip direct from Shiloh Road Station, the platform, to your destination, either in East Plano zone or the East Telecom zone. Okay? Next slide. 12th Street Station, we're doing something similar, and bus routes. There are 2 routes that have 30-minute peak frequency right now, and it's 236 and 247. We're going to divert those to scoop up platform customers at the 12th Street Station. The next slide has the same location, but it emphasizes the fact that we're also going to be adding that service to the nearby GoLink zones, East Plano and South Central Plano. East Plano is the same one that we serve as Shiloh, but South Central Plano will also be added to this. Okay, next one. Okay, if you go west down the track, you come to UT Dallas Station. Actually, we skipped over City Line Bush Station. We're not making any changes to that service area right now. It's served by Route 232 and 883, and I'm not sure why I didn't notice that until just now. Sorry. Okay, so UT Dallas Station is currently served by Route 244. That's a connector route that brings UT Dallas students and stakeholders down to our light rail service. So when this station is complete, we're going to bring it all the way down into the platform. Okay, we also have other services down here on Synergy Park. That's where the 883 shuttle is, very popular shuttle. Thousands of people take that a day. Okay, next slide. Okay, so Knoll Trail Station, which is very close to Addison Station. Addison Station doesn't get its own slide because we're not changing anything there. We have a wealth of service at Addison Station, and that's going to stay the way it is right now. Different modes, and we'll just welcome the Silver Line to the show there at Addison Station. We already board, 3,000 to 4,000 people a day at Addison Station, so they'll just come on. Knoll Trail Station, though, we have diverted Route 236 from Quorum to Knoll Trail in order to serve customers there. That is a street, so it's not like way over there and you got to run through cars. It's very nice. Okay, so In addition, DART is restructuring its fare system. We're making it much simpler than what it is. And we're also updating costs as required by our bond structure. And we need to relook at this every couple of years, and so we're doing it. And this is just kind of a informational for you all. This is happening in March. We felt we would be remiss not to mention this, given the audience and the marketing that's going along with these meetings. So we wanted to mention the fare restructure as well. So please be aware of that.
That's it.
Okay, that's it. Okay, great. Thank you.
And one thing of note here that's come up before, so these fares, this is what you would pay for riding the Silver Line. Doesn't matter if you pick up the 3-hour pass, for example, you would pay that $3, whether you're picking it up at the Shiloh Road Station or you're picking it up at the Cypress Water Station to get to the airport. So as I said, our focus is on communication and community outreach. Our primary focus is making sure that you're informed, and then we're keeping everybody safe. So the ways we do that, we provide construction, traffic, and project updates on the DART website. Again, dart.org/silverline. You can go on there. You can sign up for text and email notifications. And it's a cool service that we offer too is every Friday evening, we post basically any traffic pain points that there might be per city. So you can go on there, look up Carrollton, look up Plano, look up Addison. You can kind of see where those pain points have been, and we'll address those there. We also share that information with the city PIOs, which, like you see number 3 there, we talk to the PIO staff regularly to keep them aware of what we're doing, whether it's road closures or traffic delays, any project updates that we have, and also, you know, if there's big events coming up, that's what we talk about, providing additional service. So with a rail project, we focus on safety, so we are continuing to expand our community presence. If you ever want us to come out and talk to your HOA, to your apartment group, to your civic group, to your church group, doesn't matter, you name it, you know, we love to talk about Silverline and all the great stuff and progress that we're making. So just talk to me afterwards, or I'll share a slide where you can contact us. And then lastly, you know, we've continued to work with the cities to share when we're doing testing. We kind of had a big rollout with the city of Plano and Richardson once we started doing that. And as we start preparing to open for revenue service, we'll do the same thing and have a communication plan in place to share when we're going to have that information, when we're going to do, you know, big kickoff events, so the community can really be involved as we move forward. Last thing I'll share here that I should have shared when Hans Michael was talking, but question typically comes up is, you know, we shared that operating plan time frame. So when we get to about 6 to 8 weeks from opening up, so let's say we're going to be opening up, you know, just we'll throw Thanksgiving weekend out there, then you can make your plans if you were wanting to take a trip, you know, for Thanksgiving about 6 to 8 weeks out. We'll have the service plan up to where you can start looking and see, oh, okay, the train leaves here at 5:05. So you can start planning your trips that way. As I said, we stress rail safety, so our community relations team, if you haven't met Portia, she's in the back, she's your community service rep. She covers anything DART, and lots of folks on her team are aware of safety, and they're certified in Operation Lifesaver. It's a program that we stress on rail safety, construction safety, and just safety overall. So this is a kind of a sample of some handouts that we have both in English and in Spanish, and a video that teenagers tend to watch. Lastly, how do you stay informed with us? I've said the website several times, so one last time, dart.org/silverline. Have constant information up there going on with the project, each individual city as well. If you have questions, we're going to open it up for questions again here for this section. You can always email us directly at silverline@dart. That comes directly to me. If I can't answer your question, I'll get with one of my teammates here. We'll figure out who can, and we'll typically get to you quickly. Our goal is to respond, let you know that we got your question or your concern within 48 hours, and then we'll try to get you an answer as quick as possible. And you know, we keep our communication constant. You know, as Sonia will tell you, she and I have been chatting for about a year, so you know, making sure you know we keep abreast of what's going on. One important note I want to share is the DART hotline. That's specifically for construction. That 972-833-2856 number. So if you see something, I know here in Plano, we're primarily done. We just got some finishing work with construction, but let's say you're driving out and you have questions about why barrels are a certain way or something doesn't look right, you call that number. Someone typically will answer. If someone doesn't answer, you leave a message and someone will respond to you within 48 hours. And again, let you know that we got your concern or your question and we'll try to get it addressed as quickly as possible. All right, any questions regarding testing, the operating plan, or how you can stay informed?
Sir. With the, you showed the pictures of the trains themselves, and you showed the racks. Those racks all look like they're overhead. Do you have any like waist level racks for people that?
Yes, as I said, the open air compartment, there's basically, it's almost like a big bin that has spots. If you've ever taken the, what'd you call it, the terminal link, just like when you get on those buses and they have like that, it's basically set up just like that where you can put your luggage in a low spot or a high spot. And then it's kind of like a resting rack where you'll have a bike hook to where you can wrap around your bike and then keep it in place so it's not moving while the train.
How many bike hooks do you plan on having with each train?
I don't know off the top of my head.
Less
I know
than, more than?
I don't know off the top of my head.
Okay.
Yes.
What's that?
It would be a guess.
Yeah.
It would be, yes.
I know in the large compartment, I know there's 2 hooks and one the bike hook, which is, I think it's typically like the way I've seen it is like for like the big electric bikes since they're so heavy. But I know there's at least 1 hook in each area. But again, I'd just be guessing. I don't want to throw a number.
I wasn't planning on taking the trail and getting too tired to ride it back.
That's trail.
Right.
That's trail.
And when will Hillcrest be fully open?
I think I think we looked at, I always get Hillcrest and Coy confused.
I'll look it up.
Yeah. I know, actually, I believe Hillcrest is, I think it's May, June, and then Coy is August. I didn't want to get those reversed.
Hillcrest is just 1 lane each way right now.
Correct.
Safety features. I'm looking on the train, like if you have someone gets on with a wheelchair or a stroller, something like that, are there belts, safety belts?
There are no safety belts, but there's level boarding all the way across. So it's not like the light rail right now where if you've ridden orange line, green line, red line, blue line, there's just the C compartment. That's the only place you can get on. If you're on a wheelchair, you're with a walker or with a stroller, to where you don't have to go up steps. Silver Line has level boarding across the board. And I will say one thing that we're doing is, part of another project that I'm kind of helping out with is Dart Transform. So we're in the process of trying to secure new light rail vehicles. And in regard to that, we're also going to tackle some of the platforms to where we're going to have level boarding across the board on the new light rail vehicles. Yes, sir.
Is the section, I think it's A1 that goes into Terminal B, is that double tracked or is that just single tracked?
I believe it's double tracked.
And the other thing is, I guess.
For us, I will say TexRail is single track.
Won't be able to use both tracks, there'll be crossover, so we can use either side of the platform. Both will be double track going into the platform.
But it's primarily one side for.
It's going to,
we're
we're working on the operating plan in coordination with TexRail's operating plan. It could be that every other one would be on one side or the other.
And this meeting in March, is that the one where you talk about weekend service?
That's where they'll talk
Yes,
about the schedule and the operating plan.
I think
If you have a comment on it, you can go ahead and make
Right
it.
now, you're
Or
just
email it
planning
in.
hourly service on weekends, is that right?
I'm sorry?
I said right now, you're just planning to have hourly service on
Yes,
weekends?
just hourly service on the weekend with the same time frame, that 4 a.m.
No,
to 12.
TexRail, their busiest days are on the weekends?
Yes.
Yes, we're aware.
Yeah.
And they increased their operating plan and had their highest riders month of December.
So I will say we do have the capacity to go to 20-minute headways. So it's just with the the budget, for the opening budget, this is kind of how it's laid out. But again, that's why we have the public hearing, so the public can go and
That's what I
be
mean,
heard.
at the public hearing, you can,
You could go and tell the board exactly what you just told us and then
Yeah.
say, how come you're not
right.
adding additional service to try to get additional service like Tex Rollins did?
You can say that, they won't answer.
You can say that, yes. Again, it's a public hearing, so they want to hear what the public has to say.
They're not allowed to talk. right?
Yeah.
You can also go to city council meetings when Dart does their presentations and listen for updates also. The Plano City Council, we've been going and Dart's done an awesome job there to come and do their presentations of what they're working with the city, which helps because in that way, I had questions with construction when the city's taken over and there's some disconnect there. Hopefully through getting to know Mario and Christine and them, we can, and Mrs. Lee, we can bring back and know what we need to tell our community. Because we have 122 homes right where the trail drops down. And there's going to be a park. So we have to be aware of all that. So you need to make yourself aware, and if it's there, you need to go and listen.
Again, we're here to help. We're here to provide information. So, you can always reach out to us. We're here to answer questions.
I have my emails to prove it.
Is there any other questions we can tackle?
I have a non-silver line question. Could you tell her on the route, I think it's 247, where it doesn't go down 14th Street anymore? Is that permanent or is that?
Hans Michael
Yeah.
just left.
Just left. So if you get the question to Christine, Christine can give it. Hans
Yeah.
Michael will get you an answer.
And we'll get you an answer.
Please.
All right, well, if we don't have any, oh, yes, sir.
How is this going to affect traffic on Municipal and Avenue K and Shadow?
Well, we did the traffic analysis, we worked with the city on that. We're working on our timing so that we're not keeping the gates down while the train is in the station, so that we're avoiding that issue. That's
So
the main
one
thing.
goes down, they stop it.
That was one of Plano's primary objections when we first met in 2010 and since, and that's going to be addressed. So when the gates come down, it's going to be about 45 seconds that the gates are down and that coming in and traffic can flow. And now there's signals and all that other thing that come into play, but that's the way it's going to be. And of course, freight still goes through there, and the freight will continue to go through there.
But that's going to be it right
And
anyway.
they're going to stay a little longer. We close the gates a little longer for freight.
Awesome.
But that's, the freight line is further north.
Yeah, well, I live on 12th Street, so I'm.
You're right there by it.
Well, if there's no other questions, I want to thank you for coming out, and we'll hang around if you want to approach one of us with questions. Thank you.
Thank you.